on kneeling in front of the Creator of the heavens and this very earth. You will hear the angels speak Hebrew language. You will hear them adore and worship Elohim Chukwokika Biama in the language of the ancients, the very oldest language on the face of this very planet. Therefore, we must pray. Chineke na nke pụrụ m ihe niile, onye pụrụ ihu ma pụrụ azụ, onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-achị, eze ebube dị ngọzi ma ruo mgbe ebighị ebi, onye ịhụnanya ya sachiri ihe niile nke ya onwe ya kere eke, Chineke na nke mmụọ na mmadụ na-akpụ isi ala nye, onye anyị na-ebuli aha nsọ ya elu, onye ndị mmụọ ozi na-agba oche eze ya okirikiri n'ime eluigwe wee na-asị na ọ dị nsọ, ndị okenye oru abụọ na anọ wee na-atụ mkpọ ọlaedo n'ala na-asị na nsọ 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 ka Jehova dị. Anyị wee na-akpụ isi ala nye gị, wee na-asị site n'ihe amara gị Chineke na nke igwe na ihere agaghị eme ndị gị. O nweghị mgbe ọbụla o ji wee bụrụ obi m n'obi gị na ị ga-ewere iwe wee kpochapụ ndị gị eze ebube dị ngọzi. Anyị wee na-arịọ ka aka mkpuchite gị na nke ebere dị ngọzi wee chekwa ndị gị bụ ụmụ gị bụ ndị Biafra n'ụwa niile. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị n'isi ndị ikwu na ndị ibe. Anyị wee na-akpọku aha nsọ gị onye bi n'igwe n'isi ndị ọgọ. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị eze ebube dị ngọzi wee sị gị biko chetakwa Israel, ma chetakwa ndị nọ na Amerịka wee na-ata ahụhụ, cheta ụmụnne anyị ndị nọ n'Itali wee na-agabiga ihe niile dị iche iche. Anyị wee na-echeta ndị nọ na Spain, onye ime eluigwe ka i wee mere ha mara. Ụmụ gị nọ na Germany, onwe ndị nọ na China, Chineke nna nke igwe, ụfọdụ n'ime ha nọ na Singapore, ụmụ gị nọ n'India, ụmụ gị nọ na South Africa, ha na ebe niile dị iche iche onye kere eluigwe maka olu ụwa. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị were ndụ ndị dị etu a wee nyefee n'ọbara aka gị, na-asị gị onye pụrụ ime ihe niile, ka amara gị wee zuo oke n'ime ndụ anyị, ka ị wee zọpụta ndị gị, ka ndị dị etu a wee bụrụ ndị dị ndụ n'ala nke ndị dị ndụ wee hụ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke nna. N'ihi na nna m na nne m ahapụwo, onye nwe m bi n'igwe iwe ekwe m nkwa si na Biafra ga-abịarịrị na mgbe nke anyị. Wee na-arịọ gị eze ebube dị ngọzi, n'ihi na ụwa niile na-anụ ekpere gị, onye ime eluigwe biko ka iwe mere anyị ebere, ka iwe nye anyị amamihe ma nye anyị ọgụgụ isi, wee wezugara anyị ekworo na ntamu, ka iwe wezuga ihe ọjọọ niile, wee nye anyị ịhụnanya gị onye nwe m na Chineke nna, ka iwe rọpụtara anyị, ka esi wee mee oke osimiri uhie wee kewaa abụọ, ụmụ gị wee si n'ime ya wee gafee. Mgbe ha si n'aka Fero nna nke ebere, nke gị onwe gị wezugara ha n'ime ya wee na-agafe, ha wee si n'ụzọ adịzighị, iwe rọpụtara ha ụzọ ebe ụzọ na-adịghị. Ọ bụ ikikere gị eze ebube dị ngọzi. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị, wee na-aja gị mma, onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-achị. I nweghị atụmatụ nna nke ebere, n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye kere ihe niile kere eke, mana onweghị onye kere gị. Ụmụ gị wee na-akpọku gị n'abalị ya, eluigwe wee na-agba aka ebe ịhụnanya gị na ebere gị n'ime ndụ anyị. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị Chineke nna nke usu niile nke ndị agha, ka i wee mere anyị ebere, wee zọpụta ndị gị, wee nye ndị niile bụ ndị na-agba mbọ ka anyị nwee ahụ isi ike, bụ ndị dọkịta na ndị nọọsụ, onye nwe m na Chineke nna, bịa ka iwe gbaa ha ume ma kasie ha obi, ma nyekwa ha ikikere nke ha onwe ha na-amaghị na ha nwere izizi, ka ha wee lekọta ndị ọrịa. Chineke nna nke igwe, ka ha wee lekọta ndị ọrịa. ụzọ ọbụla anyị si wee mejọọ gị, ụzọ ọbụla anyị si wee zọjụọ ụkwụ, ụzọ ọbụla anyị si wee kwutọọ gị nna nke ebere dị ngọzi, mere anyị ebere Chineke nna nke igwe, onye kerela igwe n'ụwa, ma mere ndị gị ebere. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ nwanne otu onye, biko mere ndị gị ebere ma zọpụta anyị n'aka ajọ ihe a. Anyị emeghị onye ọzọ anyị na-agbakwuje, o nweghị onye ọzọ anyị na-arịọ enyemaka. Ọ bụ n'aka gị ka ngọzi si wee bịa Chineke nna nke igwe, ọ bụ n'aka gị ka nzọpụta ga-esi wee bịa onye kachasị ihe niile elu. Ọ bụ sọsọ n'aka gị esi ebube dị ngọzi ka eluigwe n'ụwa ga-eji wee gbaa akaebe na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye kere ihe niile kere eke, mana onweghị onye kere gị. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị ka iwee nara otuto, ka iwee nara nsọpụrụ, ka iwee nara ikpe isi n'ala, ka iwee nara ịja mma Chineke nna dị ngọzi site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi, ka anyị na-arịọ gị ise ise ise. Mma mma dịrị gị Chineke, mma mma dịrị gị Chineke, mma mma dịrị gị Chineke. We must proceed to preach this very gospel, and our people must listen and listen very attentively, because coronavirus is not a joke. You must assimilate and absorb everything that I'm going to tell you, because it is based on the very finest and soundest medical advice available around the world at the moment, thoroughly and carefully researched, in order to ensure that Biafrans all over the world come out of this pandemic intact, that we may all live to see the promise of God in our lives, because Biafra is the only thing that matters. Wealth and riches do not matter. The only thing of concern to those of us who are called both in flesh and in spirit to restore Biafra, the only thing that drives us every blessed day, the only determination that we possess, the only thing that we get out of the bed in the morning for, is to see the promise of God upon our lives, the restoration of Biafra. And I am deeply troubled and distressed about what we observe on a daily basis. This morning we are being told that the United States of America, where incidentally there are a lot of Biafrans, that very country of God is under very serious pressure to contain this virus, with very limited success, I must say. We must understand that it is for our own benefit that we follow every guideline being issued by a government, be they at the center, be they at the local level. You must rigorously and diligently abide by whatever instructions you are given, even when that instruction means that your freedom and movement is curtailed. You must adhere to it. Very, very important. It is for your own survival. When this very virus started, a lot of people, including myself, we thought it was another version or variation, or should I say variant, I have to be grammatically correct, of SARS. You remember the SARS, the swine flu and all the rest of them. But this one is more sinister. Very, very sinister and deadly. The rate of contamination, the way it propagates, the way it transmits from one person to the other is frightening. I was one of those that believed that the media was trying to scare us. I was one of those that gravitated towards the notion that this could all be one giant stage managed event to try to raise the stocks of the pharmaceutical companies. I was one of those that believed that perhaps this was something they designed and released in order to scare us into some kind of conformity. But that is not the case. This very virus is very, very deadly, I assure you. The essence of this very program this evening is to drive home the importance of personal hygiene, the importance of social distancing, very, very important, that you distance yourself from one another. The essence of confinement at home and also quarantine. Very, very critical. And I say this because in Africa, all over Africa, most of our mothers, our fathers, those in their late 50s, 60s, 70s, and upwards, we predominantly suffer from diabetes. Diabetes. For some bizarre and perverse reason, most of the deaths recorded abroad, most of the people that have died so far from this very illness, a sizable, should I say, significant proportion of them have diabetes. That is why we must take this very, very seriously. Because this very virus kills people in a very nasty way. There was a clip I was watching, a live interview with a patient in a hospital. He said that this disease actually makes you feel that sleeping is better. Remember that thing that malaria does to you? You remember malaria. When malaria comes, it will be pushing you to go and sit under the sun, to go near a fire, to receive warmth. Do you remember? That thing is actually killing you. Is not allowing your body to develop its own immune system to fight back. That is what malaria does. Lures you into a false sense of security, that sunlight is good for you. If you remember, that is what this virus does to people. It makes you feel like sleeping is very good. Lying down is wonderful. And I regret to say this. In very small number of people have those the doctors gave, you know, the machine that helps people to breathe. Because I have to be as descriptive as possible this evening. You know the equipment that you see people wear that helps them to breathe. Once you go in there, very few people come out because they have not yet realized that the best way to treat these people is by getting them to be mobile. This is the evidence coming from patients. This very afternoon, they call them respirators, for some of you who are looking for the name. We cannot afford to get to that very critical position. Because if we allow ourselves to become contaminated, if we allow ourselves to become infected through our carelessness, if we allow our parents to become infected as a result of our own carelessness, can you imagine or dream of where we can get 20,000 respirators from? The machine that will help people to breathe, which is what most orthodox doctors are going for. Where are we going to get the expertise, or should I say the expert medical personnel to attend or to tend to nearly say, roughly, let's say 200,000 people? Most of us live in very congested, densely populated areas. in Onitsha, in Aba, not so much as Enugu, in Lagos, in Kalu, some areas also in Abuja. What do you think will happen should this virus get into those places? Look at what is happening in Italy. Italy is one of the most advanced countries in the world. Look at what is happening in New York, of all places. New York and Texas in America, they have the two most advanced in the whole world, more than any other country. They have the most advanced healthcare, the most advanced medical services on this very earth. Texas and New York. Look at what is happening in New York. I couldn't believe that a doctor said that they're having to make a choice as to who dies and who lives. That is how difficult it is. It is not hearsay. It is not something people watching. I heard the doctor giving interview from inside the hospital. And to make, to even bring the horror closer home, there's a place called Excel Center in London, for those of you that know it. They're preparing, it won't be actually a surprise, for people to hear that the British Army is involved in the building of a field hospital, because in the zoo, the army is involved in arresting people and in stockpiling food for themselves. That's what Burata is doing. But in the UK, they went to Excel Center to build 14,000 beds. And the funniest thing is that it's not that they're building a field hospital. Also nearby, they are building a mortuary. In other words, all the finest statisticians you have in the Western world, all the finest brains that you have, are basically projecting that at least 16% of those that we admitted are going to die. That is why, as well as building a field hospital, they are also building a morgue, a mortuary, to take people in. I would not be that distressed nor disturbed if in Nigeria and across Africa and in Biafra land there are good hospitals, good health care. We don't have any. Previously, we also thought that because this virus cannot survive in temperatures above 28 degrees, that somehow the sun back home will kill it. Probably that is why it's slowing it down. But the difficulty is that most people have it and they do not know they have it. And the worst thing about this very virus is that they can transmit it to other people without even having or feeling ill or any form of sickness, without showing any of the symptoms. They can still transmit and infect other people. Why am I elaborating? For the simple reason that it is very, very important we stop traveling. Very, very important we stop traveling. Very, very important that we enforce self-confinement. Now we'll get to the very obvious fact that people don't have food to eat and all the rest of it, and what we are doing about it as IPOB. Because you don't expect us to keep quiet. I am concerned about our people, and we need to do something about it. This is the time to jettison and abandon any kind of misunderstanding, disagreement, rivalry, or should I say, let us just leave it at misunderstanding. I think that's better. We must come together as a people to try to defeat this very virus. Once we've defeated this very virus, we can go back to doing what we do. But right now, there is need for coming together of our people from all walks of life, every persuasion, to allow our race, the Biafran race, to emerge from this very scourge unscathed, or else disaster awaits. People, let me just tell you this. There was an information published by Breitbart yesterday. Forget all the nonsense they're telling you that it has no new cases reported in China. That is rubbish. Because if you ask the Chinese telecom, ask China Telecom, they will tell you that from December of 2019 to last week Sunday, 20 million mobile phone users in China have gone off the grid. I repeat, 20 million. We know that people can have 2 mobile phones, they can have 3, they can have 4. We know that people move for one reason or the other. But if you can have this in mind, that we live in a world where every transaction is done via your mobile phone. I mean, everything. Nobody goes to the bank anymore. Everything is done via your mobile phone in advanced countries. To have 20 million people missing from the list of China Telecom, this used to be previous mobile phone owners, tells you about the enormity and the gravity of this problem. In countries that are democracies around the world, they are far more open, far more transparent. They allow questions to come and they answer as honestly as they can. But in countries like China, where there is no openness, you cannot take what they are telling you, that they have successfully contained this very virus. They have not. I repeat, they have not. People are dying all over the place. These are in countries with advanced medical systems. Imagine what will happen in places like Ajegunle. Just think about it. People go to Luth in Yaba, Lagos University. People go there to die. Ask yourself this question: where are you going to go to get treatment? Should you become infected? Where on earth in the zoo can you go to? That is why you must stop traveling. We know in terms of livelihood, and some people will say, if I'm going to die through coronavirus, let it be. But there is no food. And as I said, we are doing something about that. And we'll get to that later. But for now, please, halt every non-essential travel. Stop going to the market. Anytime there is a restriction, please adhere and abide by it. That tells you how serious this is. It is not a joke. In the advanced parts of the world, where they have, basically, in my view, people that actually made this very virus, they have lost 22,000 people. 22,000 dead already, officially. I know people are dead in their millions in China. Forget what they're saying. And they claim that the bulk of the new cases being recorded, as we all know, they are all outside the epicenter, the former origin of this very virus, which is in the Wuhan city in China. All the new cases are outside. And I say this to you. The person who was actually saying this, or that gave the interview from his hospital bed, is a black American, for your information. So all this idea that it doesn't affect black people is false. There is a saying that perhaps those that took the tuberculosis vaccine, that they may be considered safe. We don't know. The best thing to do is to take precaution. Just take precaution. You must wash your hands. Not when you're outside, after touching your face, you come and start washing your hands. By then, it's too late. Try as much as possible. For me, it is almost impossible. I've been confined to home in one little space. Don't touch your face. When you go outside, you must wash your hands rigorously. The latest scientific research is that this very virus, a lot of people get infected, not through what they breathe in, but the surfaces they have touched and close proximity to people that already have it. That is something you must understand very, very carefully. So if you have that, what's it called? Is it called N92 or N9 gauze on your nose, you think you're protected, then you're not well. You are not protected. This infection comes via your hands, the palm of your hands mostly, because you touch surfaces, tables, railings. You know, when you get into a bus, you have to hold on to somewhere where the conductor have actually put his hands before. You put it there, you are going to become infected sooner rather than later. And the best thing for us to do is to avoid getting this very deadly infection, because we do not have the hospitals that can sustain the pressure that will come as a result of this very outbreak. Very, very important, you know. Places like United Kingdom that are advanced, the National Health Service very advanced, 477 people and counting dead, including a 21-year-old girl with no history, no previous history of any medical condition. None whatsoever. She just died. That is how deadly this very disease is. And when Bill Gates said he is worried for Africa, I am also worried. I am worried for Africa, that is true. Worried for humanity, that is true. But my primary concern is the people of Biafra. That is my primary constituency. And this virus, if it is found to be as potent in Africa as is proven in Asia, in Europe, and in North America, then we are in for one almighty mess. The best way to prevent this very calamity is by us following every medical directive from the World Health Organization. But sometimes I wonder, how can people follow these directives from World Health Organization when there is no light? Do you see why we fight for Biafra? People, the Janjaweed, the presidency of the zoo, they call them presidency because Buhari is not there. He's a hired hand from Sudan. They call themselves presidency. So any idiot can speak and it's presidency. Whereas in America, when it's the president speaking, you see Trump. Everywhere else in the world, a prime minister is speaking, you see Boris Johnson. You see the prime minister of the country, you see the president of the country, but it's in the zoo. It's called presidency. So anybody can appear and say presidency. We are in one almighty mess. And the zoo, see what we call Nigeria zoo? And the zoo cannot save you. They can't save themselves. Abba Kyari and Jubril, that they call Buhari, they are not in Abuja. If they are in Abuja, they should show us where they are. They can never show you. You have seen videos and clips of patients in Italy, in America, everywhere. The wife of the Canadian Prime Minister has coronavirus. I think the EU President, Juncker, I think he has coronavirus. They tell you. You can see them. But I am telling you right now that the zoo is non-functional. Nigeria is not functioning. It has no de facto president who is Abba Kyari. There is nobody else in charge. A majority of them are contaminated. They have all infected themselves. Nigeria right now has no government. It has no Senate. In the US, you can see the Senate voting through a stimulus package for the economy. In Nigeria, there is none. Their House of Reps, they've all run away. Senate, the same thing, they have all run away. There is nobody in charge. The only people in charge in the zoo is Buratai and this Janjaweed army. I will also come to that later. That is the mess that we are facing. That is why we must all take precaution of the very highest order in basically to ensure that we survive, that we get through this. It will come to pass eventually, but sadly people are going to die. A lot will have to die unless, I repeat, unless we do something now. And what is that thing we're going to do? we are going to make sure as IPOB that one hospital is designated to start with in every state capital of Biafra land. And we also need to include Edo State as well in this, because we have a lot of Edo people who are in IPOB all over the world and contributing very generously to what we are doing. We are going to have Chike Dosiem will expand on this on Sunday during our live broadcast. Hospitals in every state of Biafra land, specialists. Every state will nominate one hospital that IPOB is going to be in charge of, that IPOB will equip and make sure that they have everything necessary to take care of those who are ill. Every state will have to nominate one hospital. We know there is no social welfare, of course, there is none. So I am directing IPOB, that is why we are everywhere, IPOB family units in every Hampstead. I did not say village, I said every Hampstead, every street in Biafra land. The IPOB there should prepare, because we are going to open food, or should I say soup kitchens, for people. Because there are those that go out and sell their vegetables, they sell their onions, they sell their tomatoes, they come back home, and, you know, that is how they make income for the day to survive. If people are going to be confined at home, then we must make sure that they don't die of starvation. We are not very rich, but we do have ways and ideas and the requisite intellect to be able to provide for our people. We are going to do the best we can by the special grace of God in heaven. If we all cooperate and be, or should I say, remain as generous as we have always been. We always say, this is not the time for theory, nor time for rhetoric. We need to translate all those things we say all the time about love thy neighbor. We must now prove it. We may even have to feed those who are not IPOB in the process. But this is something we are going to do. And efforts are on the way to make sure that this happens in Biafra land. Every civilized country in the world is feeding their people. Some of you may have heard about the stimulus package they announced in the USA, in England, in the UK, everywhere right around the world. Even today, Japan also announced one. Now you can see the benefit of being an advanced country, an advanced economy. You can now see why we want Biafra. Because in Biafra, we would have had all these contingencies built into the fabric of society itself. So we can always go back, go to the reserves, they are begging for 22 billion. So where would they get money to feed the people? If people go to work, millions will die. You need to confine people at home, but how are you going to feed them? Anyway, as I said before, my concern is for Biafran people, and we are going to do the best that we can. As I said, Chike Dosiem, our head of DOS, will outline the details on Saturday. We are still working on it. I am still working on it. It is very, very important that, as I said earlier, we maintain the very highest standards of hygiene, that we don't travel. These are the key issues here. Don't travel. Self-quarantine. Remain at home. Even when there is no announcement from the government about a lockdown, please lock yourselves down. At least for 4 weeks. To allow this wave to pass. That is how plagues behave. This pestilence, it will come, it will pass. If we avoid it, we will all be alive to continue to agitate for Biafra to come. These are the things that we are going to do. Prayers alone cannot save us. Prayer and fasting cannot save us. I believe in miracle more than anybody else. I do. But our prayer, the prayer that I pray every day, is for God to show us a way out of this. Not for God to kill Corona, because I'm not sure that it's going to work. It won't work. Corona is there already. What we are now going to do is to manage our way out of this very crisis. And together as one people, as one nation, we are going to do it. The Nigeria that some of you belong to is an abject failure. They have failed. What is happening all over the world has actually put Africa to shame. All those years of dictatorial rule, all those years of looting, all those years of telling people that you have good hospitals, that you're fighting corruption. You know, that's the thing. I don't like Corona, to be honest with you. It has exposed quite a lot. But I still do not like it. I do not like it. And as we're on air, they're still killing people. Even the military killing people in Bielsa community. 2 people dead. We'll get to that later. You know, there is something about the Janja. People say this is not the night to make political speeches, but I have to. Because it's the truth. What I am about to tell you is out there everywhere. But there is no way anybody can deny this. You know that this God we serve in heaven is miraculous. Do you know this tiny virus, Corona? It is the surest way to expose corrupt regimes all over the world. It is a very bad virus, yes. But it is now exposing corruption that otherwise people won't be aware of. Let me explain this to you. This is according to Nigeria's budget. So it is not made up figures. Nobody is lying against anybody. 2015, when the late Buhari was alive, in his first budget, they appropriated 3.94 billion naira for Asorok Clinic. Listen carefully, please. 3.94 billion. 2015. 2016, 3.87 billion. 2017, 3.20 billion. 2018, 1.03 billion. Making it a total of 12.04 billion. But Abba Kyari, the real president of the zoo called Nigeria, fell ill. Let me go by what they're saying officially. They said they're taking him to Gwagwalada Hospital. Gwagwalada Hospital have not received from the government up to 100 million naira. But these same people that jailed Ojuzo Kalu, that put Olisametu in jail, claiming that they are fighting corruption, claiming that they are the ones to sanitize society. These same people stole 12.04 billion. The late Buhari and his family, Aisha and the son, who is the 4th richest man in Africa, Yusuf or whatever his name is. Abba Kyari, Issa Funtua, Mama Ndaura, Buratai, they have stolen money. Very clear and very neat. Very clear and very neat. Are they going to defend this? The answer is no. Not even the most ardent Janjaweed can defend this. It is very clear. You appropriated money in a budget to equip Asorok, to make it viable for your sickly whoever is there. Because Buhari is no longer there. Where is the money? Let us forget about the money they appropriated for themselves in 2020. I am asking them about the money they claim they spent on Asorok. These are the people of integrity. APC. 3.94 billion. 3.87 billion. Yoruba media will not hear this. Tinubu's paper, The Nation, will not write this. But it is here in black and white. Appropriated. Stolen from the central bank. Where is the money? What did you buy with this in Asorok? Now they are moving them all over the place. Saying we are going to Gwagwalada. We are flying him to Lagos. These are the people that stole money. And I ask you this evening, Why is Ojuso Kalu in Kuje prison serving, is it 12 years? Why is Olisa Metu in prison for 400 million naira only, serving 7 years? Why? Because they failed to realize that in Nigeria, every politics is local. You take care of your people. That is why my concern is Biafrans first. Now, do you see it? I am not saying that MEF and the Central Bank gave somebody money. This was contained in their budget. They budgeted for this money. You will see them. Recently, of course, it's Jubril. He will stand there and trying to form late Buhari's accent. He will try. He will say, in my clinic at Asorok, we are budgeting 3.87 billion. Where is it now? What did you buy with 3.87 billion? If you go to Asorok clinic, it's empty. Now tell me who is corrupt in Nigeria. Tell me those that needs to go to jail in Nigeria. These very figures, I will give it to the British, not minding what they're going through. I want to prove to the world that nobody, no group of people is more corrupt than Fulani. They are the most corrupt, useless and primitive and backwards. That's why you're all suffering. That is why everybody is suffering. Their primitivity and backwardness, that is what we are suffering. That is why there are no good hospitals. That is why I pray to Chukwukika in heaven to give us the common sense to follow these very simple guidelines that we must survive this as a race. Who is going to airlift aid to us now? USA is on lockdown. All the airlines are on lockdown. They said they brought masks for you from China. Good luck to you if you want to wear their mask from China. I say good luck to you. It was China that gave the world this very virus. You don't wear anything from them. If you do, you will die. Try it and see. I will come back and I will say, I warned you not to. People have been planning to depopulate. They don't want to colonize Africa. They want to kill us off and take over Africa completely and totally. This could be one of the ways they intend to do it. This virus is very, very different. It's not like the Spanish flu that came in 1918. Nothing you have ever seen before. This guy is deadly. People are afraid of HIV/AIDS. This is the big daddy. Some people may have built up sufficient immunity to fight it. But those who have very weak immunity, you stand no chance. You stand no chance. For civilized, advanced economies to roll back freedoms that they have cherished for thousands of years is not something they will do lightly. Not something they don't have the herd mentality as you have in the zoo. They don't have it. That is why we must be very, very careful. And I will continue to say that initially tonight I am announcing that a contingency fund of 50 million from IPOB that will go into making sure we have some hospitals ready. As soon as people respond to our appeal, back home especially, then we will of course see these very funds rise significantly. But IPOB, as a family worldwide, we never knew this was coming. Nobody knew it was coming. Nobody knew. So, as you well know, we have commitments all over the place. We have international lawyers in 4 continents. We are fighting very hard, as some of you may have known. You saw the statement that I issued yesterday. It was carried by every major news outlet all over the world. And the projection is that that very piece of damning human rights violations by Nigeria will be read by 85 million people. We have the proof and I'll show it to you on Sunday. So we are making serious headway. It's costing us a fortune, but we are making serious headway. IPOB this evening I'm announcing towards this very pandemic, we are committing 50 million naira initially to make sure we educate and prepare ourselves for what is to come. 50 million will be made available for us to tackle coronavirus in Biafra land. For now, that is. We hope our budget initially is 300 million to be able to cater for it, because most of the nurses and the doctors that will work, we know that the zoo will not pay them because there is no money. They've all run away. Abakiari is not there. And as he was running away, he took Jubril with him. Jubril ran with him. So there is nobody. I'm even sure those that you're seeing claiming presidency, they all have corona, all of them. So there is nobody. Senate they've disappeared. House of Reps disappeared. And I'm also asking the governors, please, as I said, no hostilities. I have, for the period of this very epidemic, not should I say endemic, the period of this very scourge, we are sheathing our swords, all of us. I appeal to the governors to please, now that the banks are still working to pay workers their salaries, please, whatever you're owing them, if you do not have money to pay workers, please try and pay them from your security vote. Very, very important that you pay them from your security vote. Very, very important, please. Very, very critical that you do so. From your security vote, you can pay them. We are asking, pleading, and I can say I want, in the spirit of this newfound together or something, we'll get through this virus. I'm appealing to the governors to please pay salaries. I'm also appealing to private companies to try and pay workers their salaries so that people can have something to feed the family with at this very period. People are saying stock up, stock up, stock. Anyway, but I grew up at a time when fridge was nothing anyway. If you have anything, you put it or you hang it over the fireplace. So in this era of Indomie and the refrigerator, those who are in charge of NEPA, still call it NEPA, should at least ensure that there is a semblance of constants in terms of power supply, that people can have their fridge at least up and running and be able to stock food there as well, and other perishable items that they may have. As I said, we will equip some hospitals. The difficulties we are having now is with this whole coronavirus problem. How are we going to fly this equipment? USA is placing on order, I think, about 10,000 ventilators rather. And also UK is placing on order, I think, about 15,000 ventilators. So if the UK has no ventilator and US has no ventilator, Spain has none, where are we going to get them from? This is the reason why we ask people, we want a country that is viable. We want a civilized country that is viable. You won't understand it. Now it has come. I think they said that Innocent Motors said he can build ventilators. So we'll speak to Innocent about it, about building ventilators, and see how much he's going to charge for that. We must make sure that we have our hospitals ready. In Benin, we have a hospital in Asaba. Delta is very big, so we'll have to find a hospital also in Warri to accommodate people. We need a hospital. Most places it's going to be two, actually. We need a hospital in Oka, and we also need a hospital in Onisha. I don't know how we're going to do this. This 50 million is not going to be enough, but we're going to do the best we can. We are IPOB. Once we have a project, we always fund it. That's the good thing about us. We always do. So that's exactly what we're going to do. This 50 million naira is an initial pledge from IPOB coffers, not gotten from anybody, from IPOB purse itself. That is where these funds are coming from. I expect the DOS to be able to make preparations for food distribution to the poorest families in Biafra land. Food distribution will be done to the poorest families, and we also need to make sure that the source of food supply is secured. That is the problem. Nobody knows how long this whole thing is going to last. We pray it goes over next week, in which case then everything is fine. We go back to normal. But how about if it continues? Then what happens? We don't want to be like the zoo that never plans ahead. We want to be able to plan ahead, please. As I said earlier, we are going to suspend all manner of hostilities and then to work with those who are willing to make sure that our people are fed and that they stay safe during this very period. We must take every advice very, very seriously, please. I beg of you. Every shred, every piece of advice we get, we must take very, very seriously because things are happening. Things are happening. Let me warn you as to why our hospitals will need to be open, because most of the doctors we need to pay, not to pay them full salary, but to give them something to keep them going, and also the nurses as well. As I said, 50 million is not enough, but that is just a beginning. That is what IPOB is pledging in order to be able to tackle this very menace. The hospitals in the zoo, they are closing down. I don't know if some of you are aware of this. I don't know if you're aware of this, because let me also warn you, let me also warn very critically about what is being said. I must warn people very, very clearly. The world, in fact, no, it's not what, the Ethiopian, highly regarded Ethiopian Prime Minister have said that he is worried for Africa. He is worried for Africa. This may take time. Remember, we are now saying he was not going to come to Africa. It was in China since November of last year, in China. But the Western world, Europe and America, is now feeling the heat in March of 2020. How many months? November, December, January, February, March. 4 months. They now got it. Because people traveled to China, they came back, there was no flight ban, there was no restriction, you did as you liked, and now look at where we are. We don't want to go through this same mess again. We don't want to go through it in Africa because we are poor in Africa. Because in Africa, in all honesty, the hygiene is not that great. Because also in Africa, it is overcrowded. You have slums. You have people that do menial jobs that have to survive on a day-to-day basis. That is why such people, in fact, indeed, all of our people need protection, and we must do everything we can to protect them. We must do everything we can to protect them, please. Because this is the news coming from the zoo. They are shutting down their hospitals. Their hospitals are closing down. Because the doctors themselves are going on self-isolation. Because they don't have the gear, they don't have the kit to cover themselves to do the work. 2 doctors died in New York looking after sick coronavirus patients. We don't want anything to happen to our doctors in Biafra land either, but we need to make sure that we get them the right protective gear to enable them to at least keep the hospitals open. It is very, very important they do that, please. Very, very critical. They have, what I'm telling you is actually a fact. Let me read the news for you, please. Hospital shuts down major operations due to coronavirus as doctors embark on self-isolation. I'll read it for you. The University Hospital in Ibadan, Oyo State, has suspended key services due to the ongoing coronavirus outbreak. The suspension of consultation services to regular outpatients was announced by the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Jesse Otegbayo, on Wednesday. Mr. Otegbayo said other departments in the hospital will also stop rendering services till further notice. Tell me how we're going to survive. Is it the telephone services that you have? Is there any hotline anywhere you can call if you're sick? They said it is a NASD, whatever. If they have eaten all the money meant for Asoro Clinic at the seat of power itself, what makes you think that this is so-called, is it NCCD or whatever rubbish is called, is going to be there to respond on time to your needs and to your concerns? That is why we need to do this. That is why IPOB needs to set up to the plate, and that is why we need to do everything we can within our power to safeguard the lives of our people. The lives of Biafrans is most paramount. And when they start to deny in Asorok, you know there's something wrong. They said Buhari not on ventilator. Nobody asked them. They came out and said, oh, Buhari is not on ventilator. Did anyone ask you? You know, this thing about this God we worship is that he's miraculous. And he has never failed me and can never fail. You will see what will happen to the zoo. Their real president is off the grid. Now, nobody asked Lai Mohammed is saying that Buhari is not on ventilator. Did anybody ask you if Jubril is on ventilator? From their mouth, they will confess. You watch and see what is going to happen. And then you come back and say that I told you so. I don't wish anybody ill in the zoo, but you see those in Asorok that ordered the deaths of Biafrans, ordered the invasion of my house. They slaughter at Mpo, National High School, Aba, Head Bridge, Onitsha, in Asaba, in Enugu, in Iguacha, in Mbama, in Akwa Ibom. May coronavirus ravage all of them in this life and in the next. All of them. You will see what will happen to the zoo. There is no Asarok. There is nobody there now. All here is presidency. Oh, we congratulate one Pentecostal thief for his 50th birthday. That's all they now do. There is nobody speaking. If you turn on your generator, because I know there's no light, turn on your, go and check. You will see every head of state around the world that is not ill with this very virus. You will see them standing and speaking to their people. Almost an hourly, even Hong Kong, Singapore, they called back all their MPs. They don't wear any tie to show you the urgency of it. Even Ramaphosa in South Africa, everybody speaking. The most populous country in Africa. Where is the person you claim is your president? They said he tested negative, that Jubril doesn't have it. Then where is he? In a time of national crisis and emergency, where is he to give direction and purpose? Let Jubril stand up and tell, as Trump has been, as Boris Johnson has been doing, tell the world how many ventilators you are going to purchase. Tell the world how many hospitals that are open. Tell the world the figures, the projection from the statisticians and all the experts. Come stand up and say it. He cannot. It's a COVID-19 virus. That's all. And today, even ordinary COVID-19 virus, you don't hear anymore. And people are pretending as if life is normal. Do you see why Africa is rubbish and backwards? There is nobody to speak. Because the linchpin, the dibia, the man, the honorable is down. Abakiade. He is the puppet master and he's down. Now they are so confused. They no longer know what. I said, when I said that Abba Kyari is the one running the zoo, you did not believe me. Now he's out of the way. Tell me if they're not in disarray. They are all in disarray. Now, like Mohammed, Buhari is not on ventilator. Let him come out and speak. Okay, he's Buhari, come out and speak. Now let's see. He cannot speak. Because his contract was $250 million. Now he has gotten what he bargained for. And as I told people a while ago, once you go into Asarok, you will either die in Asarok or you lose somebody very close to you. Go and check them from Babangida to present regime. And I warned Jubril, if you don't take time, you will die there. Abakiari, if you don't take time, you will die there. Anybody who goes into Asarok, either you die, your wife, or your close relative. Go and check from Babangida that moved into Asarok till this very day. It's a fact. Our priority is to defend Biafrans. Anything the zoo likes, it can do, but the zoo cannot defend you. In a time of crisis, in America, they're sending checks to people, sending out, they agreed a stimulus package of $2 trillion. Japan, $500 billion. Everybody doing something. You claim, I'm a proud Nigerian. What has Nigeria done for you now that you're in a big, ugly mess? Nothing. Is to tell you, oh, don't go out, don't do anything, don't travel, but they cannot take care of you. But IPOB will do our best. We're not saying we can provide all the solutions to the problem, but we are going to do the best we can. That is why we are here. That is why we are here. To be our brother's keeper, and that's exactly what we are going to do. All the way from Edo, because we have many people who are in IPOB. All the way from Edo to Cross River, we are going to do the best. This family of IPOB, now we want to prove to the world that indeed Elohim is with us. Some of you doubted before, isn't it? I'm now going to prove to you that God is with IPOB. I'm going to prove it to you in the next few weeks. You will see it. Then you will believe. Only then I'm sure that you're going to believe. Your pastors are not going to save you. I believe in the prayers that they are praying. You can pray in whatever language, in whatever tone that you like. That's entirely between you and your God. That's between you and your God. But these are the things that we need to do. We must be clean. Try not to touch your face. Always wash your hands. You must go and get sanitizer. If not, I'm sure that Biafrans are developing healthy sanitizers right now. using Dettol. Dettol is a very good sanitizer because you can see on Dettol, on the can itself, and on ordinary Dettol bottle or Izal, you can see it there. It kills coronavirus. It's there, it's written. Clean, wipe surfaces, and keep it very, very clean, please. Please, keep it very, very clean. We don't want our elderly or vulnerable citizens of Biafra to fall prey to this very virus. We do not need it. We are live and we are direct. I think I've gone over the time. I said I was going to be on air for only an hour. But it is very, very important that our food distribution system is secured. We don't need any criminality. We don't need fools running around all over the place looking to make life more difficult for people. We don't need that. We don't need it. What we need is consistency. Consistency in terms of people going out to show that they care. We need to prove to our people that we are IPOB. We have come to make their lives better. We have come to make Biafra a better place for everybody. Not just this generation, but those unborn. That is our legacy. That is why I say that before us, there was none like us. Now that we're here, there can never be any. Nobody can rise up and spend their dime and say, we are taking care of our people. But you said that you have billionaires, trillionaires, everything you can think of. But it has fallen to those they call miscreants to save our people. And it is a burden we must bear with pride. And this IPOB will save Biafra from this very scourge, from this very coronavirus. Please do exactly as you're told. Do exactly as you're told. No shining of shoes by Fulani Janjaweed. No shining of shoes. Because they'll bring it from Fulani North and bring it down to contaminate our people. Don't cut your nails from these people. Don't let them shine your shoes. Very, very important. If you have sense, you will understand it. Don't. Don't. I repeat, don't. They will do everything they can to decimate our population. Please do not. Maintain the highest forms of hygiene and please await further instructions from us. That brings us to the end of our program. Very brief emergency program this very day. As I told some of you, but you didn't believe me, but I think maybe let me just add this news. It's from Reuters actually. Nigerian army prepares for coronavirus lockdown and mass burials. Nigerian army. Do you trust them? They prepare for coronavirus lockdown because there is no more Abba Kyari. In the absence of Abba Kyari, it will be martial law. This coronavirus is a two-edged sword. It has taken out the cabal, more or less, weakened and incapacitated the cabal, but it has given Buratai power. Buratai will say, after all, in Britain, the army is there helping, and in other places around the world. This is what the Fulanis are planning for you. It's for those stupid. That's a Yoruba man who was running his mouth. We'll deal with that fool later, not now. Let me read the news for you from Reuters. The Nigerian army is preparing to, listen carefully, to forcibly transfer the sick to hospital and enforce curbs of movement to try to shield the country from crime. Forcibly, army, not police, not civil defense, not paramedics, no army. And you're telling me that you are in a country that has humans in them. I shouldn't be laughing, actually. It's a very serious business. People are dying. I shouldn't be. I do apologize. I do apologize. People are dying all over the world. And it's very, very painful. And we are praying for them and their families all over the world, please. A memo from Army headquarters. Listen to it very, very carefully to what they said. Following the rise and continuous spread in cases of the corona disease in Nigeria, the Chief of Army Staff has deemed it necessary for all to take protective measures to ensure the safety of the army personnel and their families. There are currently 46 confirmed cases in Nigeria because there's no testing. They don't test. Do they have the testing kit? If America is running out of testing kit and UK, where are they going to get their testing kit from? From who, I ask? Is it going to be from China? The same people that will even add, coronavirus, this is the second variant. Maybe they'll add the third variant in it and give you. And they puncture your skin and that'll be it. No vaccine of any sort. If you take it, you're gone. No vaccine of any corona until it is developed and fully certified by the Western world. Anything coming from the East, please don't accept it. I'm warning you now. I'm warning you now. They said the army is suspending everything. They are also going to take over all the food that they can find, the Nigerian army, in order to keep the army going. They'll tell you it is the army, and who are the army? It's Boko Haram. Do you see the mess that Nigeria is in? That is why anybody who refers to him or herself as a Nigerian, I see as one compound fool, one giant fool. But not Biafrans, not this very family, not IPOB. We pray that Elohim Chukwukeka Biama will continue to guide, protect, and shield every Biafran wherever you are, especially those in China, the IPOB family in China, the IPOB family in Turkey, the IPOB family even in Iran, the IPOB family in Israel, the IPOB family in Italy, the IPOB family in France, the IPOB family in the UK, the IPOB family in the United States of America. These are monumental hotspots, and we pray for each and every one of you. And we must also remember those back home. And as I said, 50 million is just the beginning. We hope to increase that as the days go on. But as always, we must not forget what we are here to do, which is to restore Biafra. And that we will continue to do. Nothing is going to stop us. That is why we say that Biafra is our religion here on radio. Biafra is where we worship, because Elohim Chukwukeka Biama Purumi Henine is our God. From me, from here, it is good evening.
I've never seen